Today, some halachas about matanos la'evyonim. That's giving gifts to the poor on the day of Purim. The bare basics, it is listed straight out of the Megillah as a command that we must do on the day of Purim. And one of the ways to accomplish that is one matana to each of two poor people. One present to each of two poor people. That's a little bit different than shalach manos, which has in it two presents of food. But here it's one present to each, to at least two poor people on the day of Purim. The Kitzur Shulchan Aruch says that the more you give for Matanos Lavyonim, the more fortunate you will be. So please remember that when allocating your Matanos Lavyonim funding, the Kitzur Shulchan Aruch says the more you give, the more fortunate you will be. It is clear, according to all poskim, that when assessing your expenditures and how much you're going to spend on your shalach manos, your presents to fellow Jews, and how much to allocate towards giving matanos avyonim, gifts to the poor, your gifts to the poor should definitely outpace your gifts to your neighbors and friends. Basically, the poor people need it more badly, and that's where the importance of the giving is. So we're not knocking shalach manos. It's a big mitzvah too, but your expenditure in matanos avyonim, gifts to the poor, should outpace your expenditure in gifts to your neighbors. When we say that there is a special rule on Purim that anyone who stretches out their hand to you, you should just try to say no to nobody. And anyone who asks you for money on the day of Purim, you should give it to them. But please note that that quote mostly refers to poor people. So if somebody comes to you and says he's collecting to help a school in the neighborhood get a new library, that's not quite in the, it's still nice to give to them, of course, but when the rabbis said that never turn down anybody on Purim, they were referring to poor people asking you for money. Still a good idea to give to the school library or any cause like that, or the shul, auditorium, fund. But the main idea in giving to anybody who reaches out their hand was giving to poor people. Should you give to non-Jews on the day of Purim? So the rabbis say that because of darkei shalom, because of a peaceful feeling, if you were to exhibit clearly that you're giving to Jews only and not non-Jews, it would create such bad feeling that there is an idea of giving to non-Jews also on the day of Purim. Some say no, and the Aruch HaShulchan says that if it's your custom to give to non-Jews, go right ahead and continue that on the day of Purim. That's okay. Can you use a check for your matanos lavyonim gift? Most of the poskim say yes, that you can. Some rabbis say that you better make sure that the bank is accessible on the day of Purim, and it isn't a Sunday or something in a town where the banks are closed. Make sure that it's accessible. Reb Belsky, Zichrona Livracha, said that it was not necessary. You could give a check even if it's a Sunday and not really cashable that day. It's still going to be considered okay. Some allowed even post-dated checks where you're going to give it to the poor guy on Purim and it won't be able to, it's not cashable by the date on it till like a day or two later. So some allow it. Most poskim say no, and the custom is to no, don't do that on the day of Purim. Give a check if you are giving a check, and make certain that it's cashable, if possible, on the day of Purim. Could you use a credit card for matanos avyonim? So the poskim of today say yes, that you can. It's a nice idea to arrange it before with your credit card so that it goes into whoever's fund is distributing it, and that he will be able to distribute it to the poor people on the day of Purim. That would be an okay use of your credit card. But if it's just a swipe that's happening on Purim and the money's going to get to the poor guy 2 weeks later, it's not the perfect matanos avyonim setup. So you could use your credit card before Purim and make sure that whoever's arranging it is being sure to distribute it to the poor people on the day of Purim. Thanks for logging on. Log on again tomorrow for more. Bye-bye.